It's been another exciting day. You know, we're in the last segment, and somehow we have to get a lot of information in here.
It goes so
But
fast.
where we left off, we were talking about that when we're finally in some sort of alignment or on our path, are true to ourselves with that authenticity, then we suddenly get help, in which case we get a velocity. Now, what I wanted to convey is that the universe is actually designed this way, and this is why we have spiritual philosophy. This is why we actually had religion, by the way, is to get us closer to what we should be doing correct in life, although they've gone a little astray, okay? But that spiritual philosophy in us, that's innate in us, is helping us to recognize certain forces of the universe, that when you do things right, from a spiritual perspective, you will be helped. And when things aren't going right, then we suddenly have all these burdens, objectives, obstacles that we're putting in our way. Part of doing it right is recognizing that we're designed to succeed. We have the potential to succeed. The second part is knowing that we don't have to do it all by ourselves. We have to get out of the ego a little bit, the personality ego. And we have to be open to some experiences that the conventional world doesn't acknowledge. You know, we could be psychic, we could have intuitions, we could have awarenesses, we could have feelings in our hearts, okay? We need to start following those things because you're sensing those divine forces out there that are designed to help us succeed. And this is where I was going to try and say that the guides will help us, the angels will help us, soulmates may come in, we may attract them at certain points in time. But it's like as we get closer and closer to doing things right, and this is what I meant by right, not that there's wrong, okay? It's actually a theosophical term, right? As we get closer to that correct channel, then suddenly we get more benefits to help us get that velocity out of life. All right, take it away. Where do you want to go with that one? That's all over the place.
First of all, as you were speaking, I could actually feel myself welling up with tears. Because what you're referring to is this communication. And this communication is a language that we create throughout our entire lifetime. And of course, lifetimes before and after.
Sure.
Because we know there truly is no time.
Infinity
But
of infinities.
exactly, it all is present. The power of the communication that you were referring to is so life-enhancing, is so that catalyst to expansion of ourselves and the expansion of our understanding and perception of our reality. The truth is, as you said, we are never alone. Not only are we never alone, we are completely connected to each and every particle of love that surrounds us. And it sometimes is manifested in the soulmate, and sometimes it's manifested in the angelic realm, or in the nature people, or in whatever it is. It manifests in exactly how we need it, and according to the language that we are communicating through at that moment.
So every action will have a response.
And every
that's
action
appropriate.
has a different language.
Ah, very good.
So there are all these languages. And what happens is when we are in this alignment process, we've been talking a lot about how do you know when you're in alignment, what happens that maybe knocks you out of alignment, what are the challenges of that alignment. I have to go back over and over again to how important it is to develop this communication within ourselves so that the nuances that we pick up and what we are feeling, we are able to translate. And this is where language comes in. Communication with all things, you were saying, right? Yes. And from an alignment perspective, it's the communication with us. And alignment with ourselves that's most important. So I wanted to bring this up also because it's important. A lot of people are challenged by the fact that they think that they're in alignment, and then all of a sudden, they get these feelings of being uncomfortable. They know where they want to go, they know what their goal is, what their heart's desire is, and they think they're taking all the necessary actions, and they wonder why they're uncomfortable. What happens very often is that we do get uncomfortable when we are doing something that's new, when we are growing out of the space that we have been very safe and secure in, And we are expanding either our perspective, our actions, our environment. All of those things are going to create a reaction within us that we might feel a little bit uneasy. At times it might even be a feeling that's associated with fear. What we need to do is to create this language with our bodies so that we are actually able to decipher what the signal is. I know that when I'm doing something for the first time, let's say even a new relationship, we've been talking about relationships.
Sure.
We're often feeling a little bit unsure. Maybe we're feeling, a certain excitement. And sometimes those emotions get a little bit cloudy and entangled, and it's a little hard to decipher.
So this communication is the awareness we were talking about a little bit earlier, this intuitiveness. Whatever abilities are latent in us, let them come out. Don't hold them back, because it's going to help us accomplish that lesson and maybe another one.
It'll tell us everything we need to know.
And the getting in alignment is getting to that point of authenticity, or alignment with that authenticity. And growth, you mentioned, was probably the underlying word, or the encapsulating word. Basically, we were growing, and philosophically we would say that's perfecting ourselves. And here's what I want to add. Don't think of it as having some end objective.
Oh, it's never ending.
It's velocity and going as far as you can go and accomplish as much as you can accomplish. Not any set things, which is part of how we were grown up to understand things, all right? We had to go through certain milestones and accomplish certain objectives, and then that was like the end of life. No. Those things were never even intended for that. They were intended to make us more comfortable on our path or objective. And also the world was different back when these concepts came into being. Right now, in this day and age, we don't want to be limited. The world is moving too quickly. People are too enlightened. We're too accomplished. Everyone needs to give themselves a pat on the back. And you don't have to judge yourself by anyone else. Wherever Marcy wants to go, she should go. I should go where I want to go. Follow those intuitions. Develop this communication. And isn't that part of what this whole New Age movement is about? Some people are into crystals, some people are into psychism, some people are into transcendental meditation. These are all ways of exploring these means of communication. And communication's a two-way street, right? We have to take stuff in and give stuff out because we're all connected. We're helping one another.
That's right.
And that's where the cosmic or the universal compassion comes in. We are here to help each other. It only seems like existence is about us because we're here in the physical. But we weren't always here in the physical. We started out as something higher, and we're evolving to something higher, but we're not going to get there unless we start exploring, like Marcy's saying, and developing all these innate abilities that we have.
And it takes practice.
Absolutely.
It's like everything in our lives, it takes practice. So I think that the most important thing that we can practice is to get comfortable with change.
Change is progress, and change is also life. Energy in motion is technically what we consider theosophically or philosophically as life. When energy's in motion, that is life. So technically life is just about being in motion. There will never be an end. Humankind has no concept of where we're ultimately going. We can only have some ideas. The end of that idea is just the extent of our ability to understand. But we can look at where we started and where we're going in our minds, and we can see that there's a pattern here. We're just supposed to be progressing, okay?
Yes, and it's all about learning what it is that we want to say yes to.
Okay.
That's really important because this relationship that I've been referring to all this time is based upon, like I said before, taking the action that's in alignment with the urgings of our spirit, with that intuition as it comes through. What's important is that you are actually responding to it. And I'm going to use this analogy for a moment. Could you imagine walking up to a barbecue grill and it's got a full flame going and just putting your hand on it? You would never do it. First of all, as you get close, you're going to feel the heat, okay? It's because your body is sensing something in your hand. Your skin has sensors that's going to tell you, back up, you're in danger. When we are experiencing very similar things in life and we ignore the signals, what happens is we create a distortion within us that's where all the confusion comes in. We have got to start to respond to these intuitive signals that are being sent to us, that our senses are picking up. The moment we begin that process, we know exactly what we have to do, where we have to go, what we have to shift, where we have to turn around and make a U-turn.
Right.
It tells us everything.
It's all innate in us.
It's innate within us, and it all starts when we start to respond to whatever that intuitiveness is telling us.
You know, we started out with this segment, we mentioned that we're going to be helped when we're like in alignment or doing literally the right things. Again, that's a philosophical term. I'm going to bring in another one, the concept of archangels.
Oh.
We know of angels, but archangels are something higher.
Yeah.
When you go back in ancient philosophies, we understand there is something about archangels, although they're known by different names to different cultures. They are that initial role model, that image that we're trying to, in God's image, that concept came from that. And there are 7 angels of creation, which are the archangels that we relate to, although there are more archangels. They are where that innateness comes in. We had to have some starting role model, that spark within us, which will help us get through existence in this round of the universe. So we can't fail is what I'm trying to say. And what Marcy's saying is we probably can't fail as long as we just follow those innate feelings, because we do have something in us. Those feelings had to come somewhere. We did have that template. And so I'm just suggesting we're not really creating anything new. There is a design, a grand plan, a divine plan. If we're true to ourselves, we are going to get there. We're all going to succeed. We're going to find compassion. We're going to find success we were talking about. We're going to be in alignment. We're going to have that self-awareness. We're going to be authentic. But when we're done with this life, done with this universe, we wipe the slate clean and we start all over again somewhere higher. It never ends. It's great. But the underlying words in that journey is compassion and love. We always find, since the dawn of time, we're always able to use that word love and compassion as the higher expression of this journey. So this satisfaction, this feeling good in some way, is a facet of love and compassion. You know, Marcy, it has just been exciting having you on here. We can't wait till you're running your own program here, and I'll be a guest, you know,
Thank you.
and
Sure.
bringing all those exciting people that you know. But you know what? Out there, we want you to stay tuned. Look for Marcy. Start looking for these concepts of empowerment that aren't necessarily traditional, new ways of thinking, and that's what she brings to the programs.
Right.
A new way of looking for the answer that's right for you, because the answer is in you, and she's the one to bring it out. Thank you. You've been watching Messenger, and my guest today has been Marcy Neumann.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's been delightful.